UFC Fight Night Vegas 10 Waterson vs Hill took place last night, and I'm going to be going through the entire card, starting with the early prelims, ending with the main event, giving my reaction and breakdown to every single fight on the card, starting with the early prelim opener of Sabina Marzo vs Justine Kish. It was not the most interesting of fights in the world, however, it was somewhat action-packed. Decent fight. Sabina Marzo looked pretty good, landed some good kicks throughout the fight, was landing some good jabs as well. It was a close one before the third round, however Sabina Marzo gets it done in the third round after dropping Justine Kish with a head kick, turns it into a rear naked choke. Great performance from Sabina Marzo. Women's flyweights got a new 9-1 contender to worry about. Unfortunate for Justine Kish, but you know, Sabina Marzo gets it done. We've got a new prospect to look out for, and that head kick was brutal, so I appreciate the performance from Sabina Marzo. Moving on up the card, Bryan Barberena versus Anthony Ivy. Bryan Barberena just kind of beat the brakes off Anthony Ivy for the entire fight. I mean, Ivy just didn't have it in him, to be honest with you. He just didn't have it in him to keep Bryan Barberena off of him, and every single time Bryan Barberena landed, it seemed as though Anthony Ivy was rocked, which is a big problem to me because it's something I worried about going into this fight, which is why I picked, by the way, I picked Sabina Marzo to get the job done. I picked Bryan Barberena to get the win as well. Anthony Ivy, yeah, he doesn't take shots too well, and he panic shoots after every single shot lands, and they aren't even that big of shots either. So Bryan Barberena, great performance, beat up Anthony Ivy for 3 rounds. I was less than impressed with Ivy's performance. I had it 30-27 Bryan Barberena. I didn't think he did enough for a 10-8 in any of the rounds, but still, they were dominant rounds, some of them, and very clear ones too. Bryan Barberena got the job done, great performance, and if he does win, and now that he's won the fight, him versus Miguel Beza would be good. Miguel Beza just had a Mickey Gall pull out of his fight. Mickey Gall got injured, is out of his fight with Miguel Beza, so maybe we can do Miguel Beza versus Bryan Barberena. Maybe we can do Bryan Barberena versus Diego Lima at the end of the year. There's a bunch of fights. Bryan Barberena versus Daniel Rodriguez. There's a great amount of fights to make at welterweight right now, so put him in there with any of them. Moving on up the card, I picked Jarlin Turner to win. He got the job done by submission in round 2. Brock Weaver looked good though. I will mention that because Brock Weaver did not look terrible. A lot of people shit on Brock Weaver, say that he's not a good fighter, doesn't deserve to be here. He looked pretty good against Jarlin Turner. He looked crisp, had good leg kicks, good jabs to the body, good jabs to the face as well against a guy in Jarlin Turner that has a massive reach advantage over him, which was a good job. He just got clipped too many times on the chin. Brock Weaver went down at the end of the first with a big shot from Jarlin Turner. Somehow survived and looked good after that as well, and made himself a bit more of a savage. I was impressed by Brock Weaver's performance, even though I picked Jarlin Turner to win. Jarlin Turner's pretty good, and Jarlin Turner's a guy who, if you look at his record, I mean, he lost 2 of his first 4 fights, and he lost to Vicente Luque as well. I think we can give him a break for having not so good of a looking record, because he's jumped straight in at the deep end. Vicente Luque had a record like 10-5 not too long ago, if people don't remember, before he went on a massive streak. His record was similar. Jarlin Turner's a young guy, great performance. It sucks to see Brock Weaver lose. I say give him one more chance against someone else who's coming off a couple of losses in that division, and loser goes home. But Brock Weaver got finished pretty badly. He showed he was tough. There was a weird moment where he got dropped and Jarlin Turner just circled around him and Herb Dean didn't call it off, but it shouldn't have been called off. He was still in it, looking up, clearing his eyes of blood. I mean, I know Dan Hardy would have screamed to stop the fight, but still, Brock Weaver didn't go out of it. He didn't get out of there easily. Jarlin Turner had a great performance. Good job, Jarlin Turner. 3-0 so far for the Guru. Moving on, Alexander Romanov dominated Roque Martinez, or Roque Martinez, however you pronounce his name. Good job from Alexander Romanov. The one thing that I've never seen before is someone so large looking in Roque Martinez get thrown around like a dog toy by Alexander Romanov. That is a different type of strength. He literally suplexed Martinez. If Martinez landed on Romanov, Romanov might have died. Like, that was a risky move from Romanov, but he went for it anyway. I said that Romanov was going to get it done in the first round. I almost was correct on that. I thought the fight could have maybe been stopped, but then looking back at the fight, a lot of the punches were landing on the arms. But I still think if you're not moving from your position, you can't just take punches like on the guard regardless. Like, even if only 1 in 3 of those ground and pound shots are getting through, even if only 1 in 3 of them are landing, you can't just sit there and let someone pound away. And I think it maybe could have been stopped, but it didn't get stopped. Credit to the referee. Roque Martinez had another chance at survival, but Romanov went straight back to work, got the single leg, turned a corner, got the takedown, straight into side control, crucifix. Dominant performance from Alexander Romanov, earning himself an arm triangle victory. It was a good win. A really good win. I'm glad that Romanov got it done. What a great performance. Moving on, up the card, Roosevelt Roberts versus Kevin Croom. Picked Roberts to win. I picked Roberts to win against Frivola. That's how confident I was in Roberts. And Kevin Croom, 22-12. Lost to a bunch of mediocre people in his career and is not that good. Steps up on short notice. The hard-hitting hillbilly he is, it must be true, his nickname, because he just went out there and clipped Roosevelt Roberts straight on the chin. 33 years of age. Roberts was the young prospect with a good record, 10-2, with great performances in the UFC against decent competition. Kevin Croom just goes out there and KOs him in the first round because MMA is autistic and there's no way of predicting it whatsoever. It's just retardation. So good luck. And to Kevin Croom, don't do what Tristan Connolly did. Fight again, please. I know that Tristan Connolly is injured now and going through neck surgery, but he wasn't for a while after that fight with Mikel Pereira. And don't do what Tristan Connolly did and just sit out and be happy that you got a win. Please, Kevin Croom, stick around, stay active, and maybe get a fight against Jarlin Turner. That sounds good. Kevin Croom versus Jarlin Turner. Both of them don't have the best records in the world. Both of them just won good fights. Let's get them back on the early prelims of a good fight night card coming up soon and make that card look even better as well. Kevin Croom versus Jarlin Turner sounds like a good matchup. Croom had a good performance though, and I'm sure it's going to get himself a performance bonus. I hope it does as well, because it was good. Showed up on short notice, got the job done against a dangerous guy. It sucks because Roosevelt Roberts is so good, but he just gets clipped on the chin. Unfortunate, but that's how the sport works. Croom gets it done. 4-1 on predictions, boys. Moving on, Julia Avila versus Ciara Eubanks. Ciara Eubanks was 6-4, but she wasn't. She was actually 6-5. 5-4, not 6-4, because one of her fights that she won was an amateur bout, and the UFC lied about her record, and are still lying about her record. She's not 6-4. She's not 7-4. She's 6-4 now. But Julia Avila just lost, which is unfortunate. I thought she was going to easily win. She looked like she was on a different level on the feet pretty easily because, you know, she was landing some good shots in the first round. Don't get me wrong, Eubanks was landing back and had a good chin to survive some of those shots. But, you know, it was just a bit of a weird performance. I don't know why the UFC is saying Eubanks is 6-4. Is 7-4. She's 6-4. Why are they lying about her record? It doesn't make you look any better. She's still 7-4. But still, Eubanks gets it done, gets the takedown where she needs it, and wins herself the fight with a bunch of submission attempts as well. Good job, Julia Avila, by staying out of those submissions, but just had nothing in terms of the answering of the impeccable grappling of Ciara Eubanks. What a monster she is. Can't beat Betch Kohea, but can easily beat Julia Avila. Makes fucking sense. Because Julia Avila beat Pani Kianzad, who just scored Betch Kohea, so it makes sense. People were asleep in my family and it's 5 a.m. But it makes sense. Moving on up the card. 4-2 on predictions so far. Good job by Eubanks. Moving on. She's ranked, by the way. 7-4. Moving on. Billy Quarantillo versus Kyle Nelson on the main card. Great performance from Billy Quarantillo. I picked him to win the fight by submission in the third round or the second round. In the second half of the fight, I picked him to win by submission. I'll take this as even better. This is even better. Thank you for that KO, Billy Quarantillo, because it was brutal. He had a great performance before then as well. He just took every shot that Kyle Nelson had for him, walked him down, went for the takedowns, got the takedowns where he needed them, made Kyle Nelson work the entire time. And in the first round, went a lot to the body, landed some good body kicks, landed some good front kicks to the body, some good body punches as well. I mean, Billy Quarantillo played a perfect game against a guy like Kyle Nelson, who comes out in a storm early, looking for something massive in the first round. He slowed it down. He made Kyle Nelson fight at his pace, kept it on him, always made Nelson throw a bunch of shots, and Quarantillo eventually in the third round went out there real crisp, landed the big shot, and it was all over from there with Kyle Nelson. A great stoppage from the referee. That was all over. As soon as you see a guy go down like that, that's all over. Like, it's not like he fell backwards and was looking up at someone, like, and maybe he could have been still in it. Like, that was a good stoppage there. Just in time. Kyle Nelson, you should not be falling down like that if you're going to be getting back up. Quarantillo got it done. Great takedowns, but good takedown defense from Nelson. He survived some good moments, showed some good grappling, but eventually Quarantillo's pace, as I said, in a 3-round fight, was too much for this fast starter in Kyle Nelson that just throws everything that he can in his first few shots. You can't do that in the professional levels of MMA unless you're going to get a quick KO, and if you don't get a quick KO, you're just going to get drowned by a guy in the later rounds, and that's what we saw there with Quarantillo. Great performance. Featherweight has got a bunch of contenders. I would not mind seeing Billy Quarantillo take on a guy potentially like Grant Dawson. Would be a decent enough matchup, I would say. I know Grant Dawson's taking a lot of catchweight bouts at the moment, but he is a featherweight, so I reckon it'd be a decent idea to do Billy Quarantillo versus Grant Dawson, to be honest with you. They both train with the same gym, I believe. Actually, they don't train with the same gym, but they're both good fighters. I'd need to see it happen. I just want to see that matchup because I think it'd be very interesting. Both young guys, both without opponents, and I think we should square them up together, but we'll see what happens, man. It's a very close fight, so we'll see. Moving on. Up the card, Bobby Green versus Alan Patrick. Great performance from Bobby Green. Just completely schooled Alan Patrick for 3 rounds. I thought Bobby Green was going to keep it standing. He was going for takedowns here, which I liked from Bobby Green because he's always been a guy that's like, fuck the takedowns. I'm going to stand up and counter-strike my way and the judges will just have to see it in my way. You lose some fights doing that. So the recent Bobby Green has been so much more active on the feet and so much more determined and so much more aggressive and first. He's a danger to that division. On a real, he's got a good chin, great cardio, goes 3 rounds easily, great counter shots, great ground game, great submission defense. I mean, there's not really great takedown defense. There's not really great takedowns, as we saw. There's not great... But we're not going to... Can I speak? There's not really anything wrong with his game. There used to be, because he used to jaw at the mouth and talk to people and get a little bit cocky and carried away. But nowadays, he just looks really good in every single fight. And he just beat a guy in Alan Patrick, who was 15-2 at the time. And had only lost to Scott Holtzman in the UFC, which is not a bad loss, to be fair. So Bobby Green, in my opinion, should look up the rankings to maybe a name like the Brad Riddells, the Renato Moicanos. If they made Renato Moicano versus Bobby Green, I'm down. I know Moicano has a fight coming up, I believe, against someone, but still, Bobby Green is in that mix of names right now in the lightweight division. I need to see him against one of those bigger names, and if Brad Riddell gets past Alex Da Silva, I'm down to see Bobby Green versus Brad Riddell. There's a bunch of fun fights to make in the lightweight division, but moving on, up the card to the feature fight of the card, or no, not the feature fight even, Ed Herman versus Mike Rodriguez. Jesus Christ, it was so clearly to the body, man. It wasn't even to the gut, it was to the fucking chest. That should have been over. I predicted a win for Bobby Green and Quarantillo, by the way, so I think I'm, 6-4? Or 6-2 right now, sorry, 6-2 on predictions. Ed Herman cheated the fuck out of that fight, man. I'm dumb. That's dumb shit. That was one of the worst calls I've ever seen made, man. That sucks to see happen, because you've just ruined the prospect in Rodriguez for one of the worst calls ever made in UFC history. How on fucking earth did you think that was a low blow, man? What are you fucking watching? He went down holding his stomach chest area and flopped down head first, finished the fucking fight. It's over from there. Mike Rodriguez doesn't follow up, and Ed Herman gets 5 minutes after basically being finished to earn his way back into the fight. Mike Rodriguez, who just thinks he's won by 2nd round TKO at the end of the round with knees in the clinch like I predicted he would, has now got an adrenaline dump, has no energy, and what do you know, Ed Herman with 5 minutes rest goes out there, gets the takedown, and Mike Rodriguez just has no strength to get back up. All of his energy's gone. He thought he won the fight. No, it was an absolute robbery. I don't understand how that's even possible. We were sitting there for 5 minutes. We spent 5 minutes watching slow-mo replay after slow-mo replay of it clearly not landing to the groin. Why did no one tell the referee and they stopped that fight? They should have stopped that fight, and there was 5 minutes to do so, and no one can tell the referee. Sometimes we need a Dan Hardy in there. That was pathetic. That was really pathetic, and that referee should be fired, and it should be overturned to a no contest. And even afterwards, they asked Ed Herman on the microphone. I respect Ed Herman as a veteran, by the way. He's been around for a long time, still doing a damn thing, and it was a good Kimura win from behind, still. But it just shouldn't have happened. Like, it should have been over in the 2nd round. Mike Rodriguez won the fucking fight. Easily. Whatever, though. Bullshit. Absolute fucking bullshit. But all good. Mike Rodriguez, career just ruined. You know, career ruined. Win bonus gone. He makes shit show money anyway, so he'll probably go hungry for the next few months. Might get cut by the UFC. Who knows what happens. 11-5 now, so there's not really going to be a lot of buzz behind him with 5 losses and 11 wins. Ruined an entire career and life due to a judge or a referee being completely fucking blind. You absolute nonce. I hope he goes missing. Moving on. Roxanne Modaferri versus Andrea Lee. I thought he could have gone to Andrea Lee or Roxanne Modaferri. In the moment, I picked Roxanne Modaferri, but looking back at some of these stats, Andrea Lee clearly outstruck her in round 3. And I don't know how much I value top control, because I remember a fight not too long ago in Dan Hooker versus Dustin Poirier, where Dan Hooker was on top in half guard the entire round, in round 3 pretty much, with a bunch of takedowns, and Poirier still won, because he was busier and landed the better shots. Why is those rules not applied, or why are those rules not applied for Andrea Lee versus Roxanne Modaferri? Andrea Lee won round 1 pretty clearly. Round 2, Andrea Lee won. Oh, no, sorry. Round 1 could go to Modaferri. I give round 1 to Modaferri, sorry. Round 2, clearly Andrea Lee wins that round by far. Almost doubles Modaferri on strikes. And round 3 is also up there, but not a bad decision. Could have gone either way. Fair play to Roxanne Modaferri. She gets the job done. But one thing I will say, I kind of want them to cut Roxanne Modaferri. She's an embarrassment to the sport of MMA. And if they are going to let her fight, please stop letting her fight on the main card, because a lot of people are watching the main card. And when the UFC says that it's the Ultimate Fighting Championship and they have the best fighters in the world, one thing that people don't want to see is someone fight like an absolute fucking retard. She just looks like an absolute idiot on the feet. I know her ground game is good. She can sit in half guard pretty well, and she's a big girl for the division. Nothing technique-wise is too amazing, but she sits in half guard, and if you can't get up, you can't get up. But it's just an embarrassment to the sport watching her strike and be on the feet, period. And I don't know if I want people to see it, because we're supposed to be the best fighters in the world. Bellator was on tonight as well. If they switch from Bellator to this and see Modaferri versus Lee and see what Modaferri's doing, we're going to be the laughing stock of the MMA community. Fix up, UFC. Don't let her on main cards ever again. She always looks like absolute shit. She looks like she's lost her glasses. And she has. She's used to wear glasses. Maybe that's it. Maybe she just can't fucking see. And maybe she's the GOAT with contact lenses, but she just can't wear them and just can't fucking see, maybe. I have no idea, but she looked like an absolute embarrassment. Moving on up the card. Ottman Izatar versus Kamal Worthy. Not much to say. I picked Worthy to win, though. Izatar got it done. Good job. Worthy has no fucking chin. Those shots just should not KO you. I know Ottman Izatar has damage. He does. Izatar has damage. Has power in his hands. He's known for KOs. I really do realise that. But that shot that KO'd Worthy weren't even that clean or powerful. And somehow it KO'd him to the canvas, pretty much. Like, it was, I don't know, it was weird. But still, Izatar with a first round KO. Great performance. Dominant performance. I think it was because Worthy was rocked already before then with a big left hook after a right hand as well. Landed a good combo, did Ottman Izatar. But then again, Worthy just single collaring and uppercutting against Izatar while he's winging bombs at you, dude. Stop fucking single collaring and uppercutting to someone who's winging fucking bombs at your face. Get the full clinch or don't clinch at all. Period. What are you doing, Kamal Worthy? You fucking retard! How did he beat Luis Pena? How? How did that guy beat Luis Pena? How did that guy beat Devontae Smith by KO in the first round? MMA makes no fucking sense. It's retarded. Moving on to the main event. Waterson versus Angela Hill. Bad decision. Hill outlanded her in rounds 1, 2, and 5. Landed the bigger shots in rounds 1, 2, and 5. Had the pressure in rounds 1, 2, and 5. Did more damage in rounds 1, 2, and 5. Had the bigger flurries and moments in rounds 1, 2, and 5. Landed a higher percentage of her strikes in rounds 1, 2, and 5. Hill clearly won rounds 1, 2, and 5. Should have gone to Hill rounds 1, 2, and 5. 3-2 Angela Hill. It went to Michelle Waterson because she's got a nice ass. I'm done with this shit. Interesting though. Still a good night of predictions for me. I think I went 7-5, and if you count the Rodriguez win in the second round, I went 8-5. I'm pretty sure. So still okay. Not the best in the world, but still positive. But you know, only robberies and terrible. Not robbery. It wasn't a robbery. I just want to say that Waterson Hill. I get if a judge blinked 10 times perfectly at certain moments, maybe they could see it to Michelle Waterson, but it was Angela Hill's fight. She won rounds 1 and 2, in my opinion, pretty clearly. Rounds 3 and 4 can go to Waterson. But round 5 was Angela Hill's or Waterson's. And then Angela Hill just unloads knees and elbows in the clinch at the end. How does she not win round 5? And how is it 4-1 Waterson? Madness, man. Madness. But Michelle Waterson's probably going to be looking for an opponent like Claudia Gadelha next if Gadelha gets past her next opponent, whenever that's going to be happening. Who knows, man? Who fucking knows, Oive? What a fucking sport we're in, eh? What absolute fucking retardation. See you later, boys. Thank you for watching the full fight recap and event recap. Click that button there. Goodbye. Yeah.